This week's Parshat Shemot, begins not only a new Parsha, but a new Sefer, an entire new dimension in our understanding of the unfolding of Jewish history. And this new dimension is found in a very famous Ramban in his Hakdama, in his introduction to the book of Shemot. We have in source number 1 how the Ramban tells us that Sefer Breshit is Sefer Yetzirah, the story of the Yetzirah, the formation of Klal Yisrael. It's the formation of the world. It is the events that happened to our forefathers. It's almost like they are the seeds that are going to plant the world that we're going to live in. And that which comes from those seeds, as he notes, B'inyan ha'maaseh haba min harimazim hahen, the actions that come from the hints, from the events of the forefathers. This is Nijachet Sefer Ve'ela Shemot. This is the book of Shemot, which begins B'inyan ha'galut harishon ha'nigzar. The book of Shemot begins with the idea of galut, of exile, and how ultimately we go through the process of redemption. Vasu HaMishkan, and the Jewish people, toward the end of the book of Shemot, build the tabernacle, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu returns, V'shav HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'yishra Shchinato Beinehem, and God's presence resides among them. And that's indeed how the book of Shemot ends, of how the Anan, the cloud of glory, is found over the tabernacle and ultimately over the Jewish people. And then they return back through this process, through this Kur HaBarzel, through this process of galus, of exile. They return back to the level of the forefathers, Shaya Sod Eloka al Oalehem, that the secret of God was on their tents, that they were Nekshavu Geulim, they are considered, the forefathers, redeemed. And we too, by having God's presence of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle upon us, we too are also Geulim, we too are also redeemed. And therefore the underline in 1, Sefer Shemot, Sefer HaTzmicha, it's the book of the development, of the growth of the Jewish people. Sefer HaGeulah, the book of redemption. It's this latter term that I'd like to focus in on in Yirtzeh Hashem today, to try to understand a little bit deeper what is the concept of Geula, what is the concept of redemption. What is the process that the book of Shemot is trying to reach, the process wherein the Avos are referred to as Nechshavu Geulim. They are redeemed, like the forefathers were that close to God, that the forefathers are the models of those who are redeemed. What is the concept of redemption about? And once we've understood a little bit into a very deep concept, and obviously there are many approaches, we're going to take one in Yirtzeh Hashem today, understand the concept of redemption, then our next question, which is the title of the Shir, it's a path to redemption. How do we go about, at least in a theoretical mindset? It's a bit of a abstract Shir today, but I think in abstractness is a lot of beauty, so hold on tight. How we can reach redemption, and I think there will be practical items for our lives. To understand what Geula is all about, what redemption is all about, the theme of the book, I'd like to try to analyze for a number of moments a halacha that many of us are familiar with. In source 20, Rav Schwab brings down, source 2, we've already called attention to the fact that our rabbis have placed great importance on smichut geula l'tfilah, meaning that the last bracha of Kriya Shema, Ga'al Yisrael, that God redeems Israel, the bracha of geula, of redemption, should be immediately followed without interruption by the Shemona Esrei, which is classically referred to as tfilah. Smichas geula l'tfilah means that there should be no interruption between the prayer, which ends with that God redeems Israel, with tefillah, with our silent Amidah. The Gemara in Brachos states, Ezehu ben haolam haba, zeh hasamech geula l'tfilah. It says Shimon Schwab, I once explained that the meaning of one who's described as ben olam haba, that he is literally somebody who has a connection to the future world, is that in addition to the reward for his mitzvos in the next world, he is a ben olam haba even in this world, meaning that he receives a taste of his future reward, me'ein olam haba, already in this world. And this includes somebody who is somech geula l'tfilah. If you put these two together, you are somebody who is me'ein olam haba, a ben olam haba. You have a taste of the future world. And obviously this needs also to be examined, what is this all about? So I'd like to suggest a very interesting insight into the whole concept of redemption based on Rav Shimon Schwab's brother, Marche Lev, Rav Moshe Schwab. Rav Schwab notes in source number 5, isn't it unusual that the concept here is that there is geula, redemption, and then there's tefillah, and then there's silent petition to God? Would I have not have thought that first I'll have tefillah, first I'll have the supplication to God, the prayer, and then I'll have redemption? What is the meaning of this order that first there's redemption and then there's prayer? So he notes the following. Source 3. Mahuta shel geula, the essence of redemption, hu hefech galot. Redemption and exile are opposites. Umahuta shel galot, the aspect of galos, of exile, he hamatzav shel amida mirachok ma'kadosh baruch hu, being distant from God. Matzav shebo HaKadosh Baruch Hu kivyachol mastir mi'itanu et panav, where God is hiding his face from us. V'nimsa shegeula shehefech hagalut, therefore if geula is the opposite of galus, geula means, this is a beautiful explanation, amida b'matzav shel kirva l'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is standing in a place of closeness to Hashem. Asher bohu me'ir eleinu et panav, where God shines his face upon us. That is a matzav, a state of geula, of redemption, where a person can see Hashem from close. And this is the idea of tefillah, because tefillah is now coming. If I've had geula, if I'm able to see Hashem from close, I can then have tefillah, which is my ability to turn to Hashem without any intermediaries, without anything blocking me, and I'm able to turn directly to Hashem with my request. Not continuing in source 4, turning to doctors, not turning to other natural causes, but rather Gal Yisrael, redemption, being able to see and feel Haras Pani, Hashem's face shining upon the person, and realizing that one is directly reliant on God, and then you're able to turn to Hashem directly, noting that there's nothing else, and feeling that state of closeness. You know, it reminds me of a conversation that I had with Rachel, our 10-year-old Knei Mamish Erev Shabbos, a few days ago, where we were doing errands together, Erev Shabbos, and I saw a woman who needed a ride, a woman who I know peripherally, happens in the same shul as us, just, hello, how are you, good Shabbos type of relationship. So I pulled over the car, I offer her a ride, and she's very thankful, and she's telling me how no one stopped, and how she then begins to tell me how she has a bad leg, and not only does she have a bad leg, but her husband's been sick. And in this very, very short car ride, she then begins to start telling me all of her woe, of her illness and her husband's illness, and how her son isn't doing well in school. And before you know it, she's taking out a tissue and she's crying hysterically, and she's going on just detailing all the difficulties that she's having in her life. After she gets out, so I was talking to Rachel. I said, there are people that don't only feel physical pain in this world, right? She wasn't only suffering from a bad foot. There are people that also feel spiritual pain, that they're hurting emotionally as well. So Rachel turns to me and she says, Ima, how do you spend your whole life listening to people's problems like this? Because she knows that this is part of what I do in my life. She says, isn't this a difficult thing to do? So I responded to her, and obviously on a 10-year-old level, I said, you know, Rachel, the challenge that I have when I'm working with these type of people and talking to these people is the challenge, and this is exactly what Rav Schwab is saying, the challenge at whatever level I can to be able to open up for them a little window of Geula. And I said to Rachel, I said, you know, what these people are really searching for is understanding of why this is happening. They're looking for meaning in life, and they're looking to feel that Hashem really loves them and cares about them, and that this whole world makes sense, which on where they're coming from right now, it doesn't seem to make so much sense. And if you're able just to point out the beauty in life, and as I said to this woman, you see how I stopped, how you needed a ride, how Hashem sent me at this moment, try to see the moments where God is found in your life, those silver linings, and be able to have some rays of closeness. Those rays of closeness are Geula. And I was trying to explain to Rachel that this is, for me, a wonderful opportunity to be able to try to share with others and try to be able to help others redeem themselves in seeing Hashem's hand in this world. What is Geula, redemption, about? And obviously there are many different stages and levels. It's about feeling closeness. It's about Haras Panim. It's about Hashem's face shining upon a person. Golus, exile, on the other hand, is Hester Panim, is when God is in exile, where you don't feel that closeness to God, and therefore turn to so many other venues in order to try to achieve that which you want in life. And our challenge in life is to be able to pierce through that darkness, to be able to pierce through the external and be able to get to the core, the internal. The way Rav Schwab describes it in 6 and 7. He says, for example, if you take a wooden table and you ask somebody, what is this? So he says there are two different ways that people can respond. Some people can say, this is a block of wood, and they would be correct. Other people who are able to have better vision will be able to say, or more sophisticated vision, this is a table. So often when we look at this world, we see it as a block of wood. We're unable to see its deeper use, which is it's a table and its function as a table. Our challenge is to be able, and that's what Galus ultimately does, is that the process of Galus makes us go through a difficult experience to almost enter into the distance in order to come closer. It's Moshe Rabbeinu who's Nigash El HaRafel, who enters into a dense cloud, Kisham Elokim, because that is where God is found. And that's the essence. If we were just summarize what we've seen till now we'll see it developed, Mirz Hashem. This is the essence between Galus and Geula. Galus is the world of the external, the world of the Hester Panim, the world of the wood. Geula is the world of the Pnimius, the world of the internal, the world of the table, the world where we're able to feel and see and apprehend that closeness to Hashem. And with this we can explain in source number 8 that when Moshe Rabbeinu struck the Mitzri and killed him, and then he sees two Jews fighting, and one Jew says to the other, are you going to kill us like you killed the Egyptian? And Moshe said, I now know that which I had done has become public knowledge. And, he runs away, basically. The Medrash, which Rashi brings down, on Vayira Moshe is afraid, in source 8, Vayomer Acheinu da davar, the Medrash says, until then, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't understand why the Jews had been in exile. But now that he saw that they're people who are tattletales, people who tell what's going on, he says, now I see why they're not worthy of being redeemed. And here the Maharal Gur Aryeh explains so beautifully. What does it mean that because they're tattletales, aren't worthy to be redeemed? because Geula is nimshechet mimadrega pnimit elyona she'eina begalui. Geula, by definition, is something very deep and internal. If the people are going to be telling about things going on with other people, if Lashon Hara is going to be prevalent among the people, then the people are living on a chitzoni level, on an external level. And people are living on an external level, are living in the world of galus, the world of exile. And they're not yet ready to be ready to be on a level to be redeemed. Because redemption is predicated on the world of the inner. And that's why Rav Moshe Shapiro notes Mimamakim in source number 9. He says, the Maharal clearly says, the Geula is Tuliyah b'midat tznius. The Geula, the redemption, is dependent on tznius. Tznius not meaning, high necklines and clothes, but tznius meaning the internal world, the inner world. It's about, in source 10, that Esther was zocha, was worthy to be the redeemer because of her tznius. What was Esther's modesty? She didn't tell what was her national origin. She had the ability to keep a secret. That's tznius. To be able to live in the internal world. Not to share everything. Not to say everything that's on your mind. A person who just speaks whatever's on their mind and just, goes around on a total external level, such a person is really not connected to their inner part. And to a certain level, that person is living in galus, that person is living in exile. And now we can understand, moving to source number 11, when Moshe Rabbeinu was born, the Medrash says that there was a light that accompanied his birth, and that light was none other than the Or HaGanuz, that light of concealment from the beginning of the world. It's that light we spoke about by Hanukkah. And when his parents saw that light, that's Pshat, that his mother Yocheved tried, V'titz B'nehu, she tried to conceal him for 3 months. So the simple interpretation means she was hiding him from the Egyptians for 3 months. On a deeper level, Yocheved realized, and Amram realized, that this child is an internal child. That this child, as Miriam said, Atida imi sheteled ben, that will be the Goel, my mother will have a son that will be the Redeemer of Israel. They understood that this child was going to be the Redeemer. The Goel by nature is an inner type of being. Vatitz b'nehu. She tried to conceal him. His essence is concealment. His essence is the Or HaGanuz. It's a concealed light. Moshe Rabbeinu later in his life wears that masveh, wears that scarf, that veil over his head. He is an inner type of person. Ki karan or panav, that light coming from his face, is that Or HaGanuz, is that inner light, that concealed light. That is the essence of Moshe Rabbeinu. And now we understand in 12 and 13 why Moshe Rabbeinu is kvad peh v'kvad lashon. He has a speech defect. It's not an imperfection. The opposite is true. He could not speak well because of his perfection. He was holding in a world of truth. Speech is the ability to take things in the outer world. When a person is holding in an inner sense, when a person's on the level of perfection, of innerness, they keep a tremendous amount within them. I'm kvad peh v'kvad lashon. I can't articulate. That's not a defect. That's a compliment to Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the man of the inner being. And that's why Aaron, which is the same letters in the pasuk of Asher Ayin Ba'ayin Nira, Aaron, who is seen, the external, who's going to be the spokesman for Moshe Rabbeinu.